call this meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
Oops, sorry. I might put them on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So before we get in, I just need to announce that we had a brief executive session prior to the meeting to discuss some matters of litigation. And the first item up is to have a moment of silence for the passing of Matthew Kane, a community parent, volunteer, coach, and friend, and for the Ironworkers Local 401.
Some of us are going to say a few words about Matt Keene also. I had really just a small sliver of his huge impact in this community. He was not a resident of Horsham, but he was here 4 to 5 nights a week, volunteering in the community, coaching in the community, and in the organizations he was coaching. That was a volunteer role as well. And really giving more than he took from this community. When I talked to another parent who had a child on one of his teams, we talked about the ripples, because it really did spread pretty far and wide, the lives he touched in this community. I think it's a real call for everyone to step up and to be involved in the lives of our children in the community. Thank you.
I just want to say, as a building trades member, losing 3 brothers from local 401 does hurt our community badly. We stand in solidarity, and that's all I have. Thank you.
I'll conclude. I wrote something for this, so I'll read from that. I wanted to take a moment to recognize and mourn the loss of Matthew Kane, as well as Stephen Shevchuk and Mark Scott Jr. The tragedy of the garage collapse that occurred on April 8th is devastating for many reasons, and most profoundly because it claimed 3 lives. Individuals who woke up, went to work, and expected and deserved to return home safely to their families. This loss hits especially close to home for our Horsham community, and I'm deeply saddened by it. Matt Kane was an active and visible member of our community, frequently supporting and cheering on his children at township events and sporting activities. And while I did not personally know Matt very well, this past year my son participated in diving alongside Matt's son. Matt was easily recognizable as one of the most enthusiastic supporters in the stand. The pride he had in his son and the energy with which he encouraged him at every meet were palpable to everyone there. I am heartbroken for Matt's family and especially for his children. They should have had many more years of seeing their father in the audience, cheering them on through sports and school and all of life's milestones. So with that, I extend my most heartfelt and sincere condolences to Matt's family and to everyone in our community who has been impacted by this tragic loss, as well as to the families and loved ones of the other 2 ironworkers, Stephen Shevchuk and Mark Scott Jr., whose lives were also cut far too short.
And to follow up, there are members of our community who have asked how they can help. There is a GoFundMe to support Matt's children. If you have interest and have not seen that circulating on social media, please feel free to email me. I'll be happy to pass along the link for that information. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So the next, we'll move on. The next item on the agenda is opportunity for questions and comments from the public. Please come to the mic and state your name and address.
So members of, you have to move pretty close to it. think yeah, can you flip the switch on top?
This work? It's on. Testing that.
How about now?
It's on now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So, members of council, my name is Nicholas Graham. I live at 1013 Oak Ridge Drive. I appeared before council on March 25th and submitted letters dated March 9th and March 20th regarding ordinance questions concerning the Oak Ridge development by Hallmark Building Group or Hallmark Homes. Tonight, those questions remain unanswered in the written public record. Because further Oak Ridge closeout related action may occur administratively or may later come before council, I ask council to direct the township manager to provide a written response to the questions raised in my March 9th and March 20th letters before any further closeout related action is processed, recommended, or presented. My letters raise a number of governance questions. Tonight I want to focus on one development-wide question. What did the township verify before it treated lot conditions as the homeowner's responsibility? Preserved tree protection is one visible example of a community matter, not confined to a single property or my lot. Grading, restoration, site cleanup, and other closeout related items and conditions are examples of others. I ask council to turn to page 1 of the handout. On the left side is the township's position. Once certificates of occupancy are issued, all individual lot conditions become the homeowner's responsibility. On the right is the development agreement. Use and occupancy permits shall not issue until the township determines that construction and on-lot grading comply with the approved plan and applicable requirements. Those two positions fit together only if the township performed the verification the agreement contemplates. My question is, what did it verify? At my March 25th appearance, I showed council document examples of preserved tree protection. The approved plans required protection fencing at the drip line. The conditions documented there were not isolated to one tree or one lot. They raised the same question. What did the township verify regarding preserved trees on private lots before those conditions were treated as the homeowner's responsibility? Township Code Section 198-39.D7C directs the township landscape architect to assess whether preserved trees have been adequately protected during construction and direct the removal and replacement where adequate protection has not occurred. Whether that assessment occurred here is the governance question the township is positioned to answer. These preserved woodlands are part of the approved plan framework for this development, not just discretionary landscaping. Changing that premise after occupancy is not the same thing as showing the original verification occurred. Pages 2 through 4 of the handout show document examples of that pattern in multiple locations across the development and across different lots. The same question also applies to the County Line Road right-of-way corridor, where preserved woodlands on several lots meet the public right-of-way. In July 2025, I asked 3 direct questions about that corridor. The written answer was no on each point. No certified arborist assessment or formal inspection before dedication. No required tree condition documentation from Hallmark. And no township review of tree conditions before acceptance. The response further stated that trees of concern would have to be identified by the property owner. Pages 5 and 6 of the handout show this corridor. Township staff also stated in writing that vegetation maintenance in the right-of-way area falls to the adjacent property owner. So adjacent property owners may bear ongoing costs in a corridor whose baseline conditions the township confirmed were not assessed as part of the dedication process. This is the same governance question applied to the public corridor. On private lots, the township says conditions became the homeowner's responsibility after occupancy. In the County Line Road corridor, the township confirmed that no tree condition review was conducted or required before dedication. In both settings, the question is the same. What did the township verify before responsibility was placed on homeowners or adjacent owners? Please enter these materials in the record. I respectfully request that the minutes reflect that this statement addressed the Oak Ridge development by Hallmark Building Group, the development agreement compliance determination questions raised in my March 9th and March 20 letters, and the specific requests I made tonight. I further request that those letters, along with my prepared remarks, be attached to or referenced as exhibits in the minutes, so that the record reflects what was actually raised rather than a general characterization. I will email copies of the letters and my prepared remarks to the township manager and council. I ask council to direct the township manager to provide a written response on the record to the questions raised in my March 9th and March 20th letters before any further Oak Ridge closeout related action is processed, recommended, or presented. If any Oak Ridge closeout item comes before council, I respectfully request the opportunity to address council before any vote. I also ask that any Oak Ridge closeout related vote, whether the release of financial security, release of maintenance guarantee, or acceptance of dedication, be supported by the written township engineer materials required under subdivision and land development ordinance, made available in the council packet before any final action. If the township maintains that the required verification occurred, the township manager should identify those records. If no such records can be identified, that should be stated clearly in writing. Thank you.
I just thank you for coming out tonight and speaking. I just had a quick follow-up question on all of this, and thank you for all the documentation and your prepared speech. Is there something, I mean, obviously, other than the responses to the questions that you've posed, is there an outcome that you are looking to achieve in all of this? Is there something that you are requesting we do or the developer do at this point in time?
At this time, I think responses in the written record to the questions I've asked is the best next step. I think thereafter we can return. I'm not against the conversation, but my request has been for the records. And
but the question is there an ultimate outcome that you're
Right,
seeking?
you've declined a conversation. Just for the record, also, you've declined a conversation, and I would love to know what we can actionably do to find a satisfactory resolution to the issue.
did not decline the conversation. I've just requested that the conversation occur in writing.
That's not a
Or in
conversation.
public. Well, if we have a conversation, I think it would be, it would need to be public record. It's not a behind-the-scenes, off-the-record conversation.
So you're not willing to tell the council
You're not telling us what you
would
want.
like to have happened based upon all this information that you're seeking and all of the items that you're wanting them to do. You're not willing to tell them this is what you want to see happen ultimately, like what your goal is?
The first goal is to have a written record.
No, I understand what you're saying. The
The questions
first,
that I've asked so that it's understood.
okay, let's assume that happens. What's the next step? What do you want next?
So I don't speak for the community. I am one homeowner.
Okay, what do you want next?
I would like answers to the questions.
And after you have all the questions are answered, you have all your
I can't
answers.
tell you based on those answers to the questions would determine what the next steps are.
Yeah, I think we would
I
like
can't-
to work with you, but it's hard to get to what it is that, like, what end goal we're getting to if we don't know what that end goal is. And I see that you raised your hand a couple of times there in the back, so
Sure, I will.
I'm happy to.
Sorry.
I just want to say, though, I don't represent the community. I'm one lot, so I'm not going to sit here and talk for the community, because as I've said, these issues are not one property, they're systemic. And I'm here advocating for the community, but I do not represent them. On top of that, the HOA is a separate legal entity, and I, by all means, will not speak for them.
Just to also clarify, I did ask questions about closeout, and my understanding is that closeout and release of funds is related to public utilities. Is that correct?
Public infrastructure.
And public infrastructure. Can we speak more to that just for a general understanding of what's involved? Because we can't, my understanding is that we can't legally hold those funds if all of the items have been met that are connected to those funds, even if there are other things that have occurred that we might think are not in line with that, or that you might think are not in line
Well,
with
that's
that.
part of the, if I may just say, part of coming here and speaking is to surface these issues to the Township Council, so you're aware of some of the items the community has been dealing with and struggling with, without getting into the details about how those have been met in the past by entities or individuals. So it's also bringing that awareness to council, so that you know if something comes before you, which is documented issue that I've raised, it may warrant a conversation or a question about whether it's appropriate to release those funds until those items are addressed for the sake of the community, because these are homeowners, taxpayers, and have their own kids.
And you're concerned about the funds for certain trees that were being held in
It's
escrow?
more than trees.
Well, that's all I have in this packet right here.
I am happy to come back in 2 weeks and speak again about the other issues. As I've said in my letters, which I've submitted, which have not been put in the meeting minutes, it addresses, and as I mentioned tonight, it's more than just the preserved trees. It's also the landscaping trees, which are public appurtenance and will be dedicated. There are conditions on the lots and in communal spaces, construction debris, et cetera. So it's more than just one item. I think the point is there are systemic issues that I am trying to surface to bring to your attention as the local government, so we can get some help ensuring the safety of the community, and also that these issues do not become latent liabilities, such as the case of trees that may not have been inspected and they're passed on to homeowners, which, by the way, without getting into it, those trees have fallen on homes and into County Line Road.
And can we get a list of what counts as public infrastructure as far as our legal obligations in this situation?
So in every development, not just this development, as part of the process, and John, at any point, if you want to jump in, but there's a development agreement that gets put together by the township solicitor. And attached to that development agreement is what we call an escrow tabulation, which has a list of all the public improvements. It could be erosion and sediment control, stormwater piping, the road, curb, sidewalk, landscaping. I could keep going. I don't have the exact escrow tabulation. This gentleman, I'm sure, has probably seen it.
Yes.
And during construction, we're out there, we're observing the public improvements being installed. And then it gets to a point where the developer wants to ultimately be done with all the public improvements, get the money released, turn it over for dedication, and the township starts to maintain the roads, plow them, that kind of stuff. As this gentleman stated last time you were here, I think we issued what we call a punch list letter that had over 200 deficiencies in it. They haven't addressed all 200. They have not been, you guys have not accepted dedication. Not all escrow monies have been released yet. So that's kind of where we are at this point. Now, again, to your
And
point, I don't
is-
know what the specific issue is that,
I
did the tree
want to
die
help,
after it
right?
was?
I want to help.
I think I need to take a step back, though, and get back to you about what the best forum is for us to engage on the topic, because as I said, I don't think it would be fair to the community for me to represent the community, so I think it's a conversation.
Well, we're not asking you to represent the community. We're
Well, I
asking
think
you
there's
to.
multiple issues that I'm not aware of, right? I can only sit here and speak about some of the things I've observed on my lot and do my best to understand what other homeowners are dealing with.
Do you understand that the
or dealt
engineer is
with.
going to inspect items that may be on or around your lot? And it'd be
Yes.
nice if that engineer knows prior to looking on those things on the punch list, whether or not they're of concern of yours. And if you come in after the fact, after it's already been inspected and approved, it's going to be too late
Thank
for
you,
that.
Mr. Valco. So in May 2025, I submitted a complaint to the township, which in one day was sent back to me, and I was told to get an attorney, and it's a civil matter. Those issues are private lot, but also communal issues. And I won't get into all of those, but it relates to trees, it relates to buried erosion control socks. And
So, but again,
so I can
there's
only
a
speak
punch list, though. Have you seen the punch list of items?
As I have. and
Okay, so we're going to be dealing with the items on the punch list. Are you asking him to look at things that aren't on that punch list?
Listen, the punch list is put together by the engineer. I have no control over that. I'm just raising issues about other things that may be worth the township council understanding.
Okay, but no one
As I said-
understands what those issues are if they're not on the punch list,
As I-
and you're not telling us what they are.
As I said, back in May 2025, and through conversations and emails, I have presented a number of concerns and issues related to flooding, surface flow, compacted soil, buried erosion control sucks, debris in the public corridor, damaged trees. I mean, we could go on. There's only so much that I can sit here and talk about this evening. As I said, there are records, emails, documents that have been sent to the township staff. I am happy to send those so you're all aware of some of those issues, so I don't have to come back every 2 weeks and have these conversations, and then we can figure out the best approach to have that conversation. But as I said, I can't speak for the community. I'm one lot. My purpose here is to talk about some of the community-wide issues and bring them to your attention so that they can be considered and addressed if needed.
So thank you. We appreciate you bringing them to our attention. It is hard to action on when we don't have specific goals of what we're working toward, but maybe the next individual can help clarify some of these points if you're willing.
So I wasn't planning on talking.
We just need your name and address.
My name's Sunny Patel from 1000 Oak Ridge. So there's about 25, 30 of us, right, trying to figure out the problems that we're having in our neighborhood. And he's put the time in to, present to you guys. So our agenda was planned out as, hey, let's go to each meeting and bring one topic one at a time so we're not hitting you guys with a 100-page deck and things are getting missed. I understand the engineers, that's Gilmore, is that correct? They do a great job. I've worked with them on a personal project. I think they do a great job. So I'm sure they've hit everything on their punch list, and we're bringing additional items that might have been missed or might have not been, but we know they haven't been addressed yet. Now, you guys might say, well, we're asking very simple questions. We want to help you, but you guys are here, right? Maybe once a month on this meeting. But we come through that door, and I don't want to say any names, but there's great people that work behind that window that want to help every community member, and there's people that don't, right? So when we come in and we say things like, hey, we want to file a complaint, it's like, you can't. You got to wait post-dedication. So one of my recommendations, too, is there's another neighborhood going in. Maybe someone take the time to go out to the community and find out what is going on and how unhappy they are, not with home problems, but community problems, so that you guys can maybe stop that from happening in the next community, right? Because builders will come and go, but the homeowners will stay here to make this community a community, right? That's what it's all about. So that's not happening. And you guys have no data. You know why? Because anytime someone has a good question, it's, you need an attorney? Can I file a complaint? No, you can't anything post-dedication because they have time to fix it until then. So when someone like Nick has spent a lot of time sending in, data to township members that should, evaluate the situation and then make an informed decision and give feedback, it was, less than 24 hours, you got a reply saying, hey, this is not valid. So he's setting a form of, hey, these are my questions. I want you guys to answer them on record. He would probably go back to the community where we all meet, 25, 30 of us out of 50 homes, and say, how would you guys like to proceed? And then based on everyone making that decision, then I think he would come back and say it to you, because he doesn't want to make a decision for any one person. So I'm not speaking for him or anyone. I'm just telling you what I would want. You guys ask some simple questions.
I'll offer, Mr. Patel, because I've offered it already.
Sure.
I would love to sit down with you. I would love to sit down with you, with our solicitor, with the team. You're right, these 5 people come twice a month.
Sure.
The Home Rule Charter, they don't get involved with day-to-day operations. They are elected officials, but my job, the solicitor's job, the engineer's job, we're day-to-day. And a lot of issues, we've been here a long time, I've been here 34 years, through a lot of developments. And a lot of it can be done through communication, verbal communication, and meeting, telling us what the issues are. Meet with us. We can meet with the developer. We can see, and even if there isn't a state law that says, the township, you don't have enforcement or authority over that, sometimes we can get developers to do things. Okay. So, but what as was mentioned earlier, we need to find out. We need to find out what the issues are, and we'd love to meet with you. Sure. We'd love to help you.
So I'm going to address that in 1 second. Let me just say one thing, and I got you. So to answer the simple question that I think the answer you wanted and a couple of people, we want you guys to know what's going on and then make the decision of figuring out who needs to fix it and things be fixed, regardless of if that's a builder, homeowner, township. We want someone to hold people accountable where things are not right and make things right.
But you're going to tell us what things are not right and what needs to be fixed?
We're going to share it with you guys, right?
I mean, that's what we're asking.
So we're going to share it with you in our understanding, and then you guys, with the resources that you have, would make an informed decision and say, hey, Sonny, this is correct, and you're going to educate me. And you're going to educate me not just because that's your decision, but you're going to go down the whole board, you're going to use every brain that knows how to make that decision and then come back to me. But the whole answer of, oh, we walk in and we say something and it's, oh, call a lawyer, go away, that has to stop. And, you know, there's a lot of things that in those concerns that if, you know, Gilmore put on paper that it's good, I think most of the community would probably support it because we trust Gilmore. But we're not having trust with our township right now because they're not supporting us. Is that fair? Because Gilmore's great.
Yes and no, because you have an offer to meet with the township staff, and that seems to continue to be declined, not by you
So I'll tell you why.
necessarily.
So if I give you some scenarios right now of things that have happened in this office,
Oh,
you would say, hey,
I
do you have proof of that, right? So if I have a conversation with someone and it's not on public record, how do we hold that person accountable? Right?
Right.
I'm coming here and saying things off the fly. I wasn't planning on speaking, but Nick wanted to stay to his agenda. And everything I'm saying is on camera, right? So I'm going to be held to what I'm saying. So I want to make sure everyone on the table is being held to what they're saying. Is that not fair?
I understand what you're
Especially after
saying,
what
and I
we've been through.
understand that there have been issues in the past and that we're speaking to those with interactions with staff. And we would like that to not continue, and that's kind of a root issue.
Yeah.
We also want to come to some sort of resolution of our understanding, because we're getting very lengthy emails with an explanation of something. You said there might be 100 items that are not on the punch list, and they're going to come one at a time. I would much prefer to look at the big picture for that.
Okay, well, then we could do that, right? So that's feedback that Nick will take and compress it for you. Yes, and just a quick example,
Right.
over the 2 years in this community, I've emailed Michael Shanton maybe 15, 20 times. I've come to this township and asked for him. Till today, if I bumped into him at the local Giant, I wouldn't know that he's a guy that works at the township. I don't know who he is. I don't know how to contact him, even though I have his email. I could leave him a voicemail. There's probably about 10 of us. Has anyone ever heard from Michael Shanton? No. There's people that have asked, like, hey, you know, we have some concerns. Can you come out and look at this with us so we can figure out the resolve? And they were told that they would have to pay a fee to come out, for him to come out. And it's like, hey, you know, we're a community. Make it make sense. Or get him on the phone and tell us why we're paying the fee.
Well, I think he would probably be involved in this conversation, should
Is he,
anyone.
is he here?
No,
Great.
no,
Oh, sorry.
no.
Okay. 'Cause
But,
if he was here, I wouldn't know. And I'm just being very honest.
but I want to get yes, he would be
And
involved.
can we please let him go real quick? 'Cause
If I could
feel
just,
rude
if I could just
cutting him off.
interject here for a second,
'Cause he's Gilmore. We got it. let him
And I
talk.
appreciate all the kind words, thank you. So, you know, obviously not our first development in Horsham, and our firm represents a lot of other municipalities, and a lot of times an HOA, as the HOA, will give us a letter, and it'll say, lot 33, you know, the silt fence wasn't removed, lot 22, there's a chip in the curb, you know, and we go through that, and we'll say, yep, you know, here, that's on our punch list, or, oh, no, we missed that, or, hey, that tree on lot 22 that you said's dead, that's not actually a street tree, that's not a dedicated improvement, that might have been a tree that the builder put in for you as part of a landscaping package. It died, that's between you and the builder, that's not a public improvement. So we do this, that's I guess why we keep saying we want this list, so we can verify, and if there's some things that aren't township purview, we're gonna be upfront and clear with you that like, hey, like just like top coating your driveway, that's not, a dedicated escrowed improvement. However, some of you that wanted to go to settlement like in the winter and the top coat wasn't down, they posted a cash escrow with the township, and then when the developer put the top coat down, someone goes out, verifies it, and the developer gets that cash escrow back. So we want to make sure the community is happy at the end of the day. To Ellen's point, we want the list all at once so that we can help you address it quicker. That, because if there's 100 items and it's one item per meeting, we're going to be here for a long time.
So 2 quick examples. So one, I felt like my grading was incorrect. Talked to a township code enforcer. He said, get a survey done, and if it's not doesn't match what the plans say, you could come file a complaint. So I went and paid Carroll Engineering, the same company that the builder used, paid $700, came in with that report to file a complaint, and was told I can't file a complaint 18 months post-dedication. So now I have that paperwork, but I'm never going to be able to do it because I put a pool in. You guys don't have that data. You're asking for stuff back, but it's not getting to you because it gets kicked out this front door. That's example 1, right? Right off the bat. Example 2, monster tree. A lot of people's house trees are dying. So we said, hey, the township is giving us pushback. They're like, we're arborists. We do a lot of work in Bucks County. You guys could hire us. Your HOA could hire us, and we'll do a full report on your common ground and tell you what's wrong with the trees, and you could file that to the township and have them hold the builder accountable. Because the surveys were done before, right? It takes 2 to 3 years for a tree to die. So if you hit something while you're doing construction, it could die. And I'm not the arborist, all right? Jamie from Monster, I could get any one of you guys on the phone with him. You come in here, can't file the complaint, so you don't know about it. The complaints are getting pushed out this door.
Can I ask a question on what is the, I don't know which direction to look in for this question. What is the legal basis for not being able to file a complaint until after dedication, or in these examples, I think those would be helpful to understand too. And I know that this is probably a discussion that maybe needs a different forum than a council meeting at the expense of.
Again, I don't know the background of all of these, and that's why I've been wanting to, I asked Mr. Graham for a meeting, but now Mr. Mattel, I'll ask you
I
for
get
a
what
meeting.
you guys are saying. You guys are asking for very simple things that we should be able to provide. It's just we've gone through it so much that we're having a hard time. Trust, right? Trust takes time. And
But you giving me these examples, even if it's not here, then I can follow up, right? I might not be in a position to change anything, but I have the ear of the people who do. So
you're an elected official.
Yes.
So if you want to take the time and you say, hey, Sonny, pick a day out of these days and get 20 people together. I want to come and spend time out of my day and talk to you guys and see what's wrong. I'm your guy. Because I don't want to tell you what's wrong. Let them tell you. Right? They're a part of the community. They vote for you too.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed.
We're all about community, We want help.
We want to build that trust. And if you feel like that has been broken or that has not been on a good foundation, we would like to find the way forward to build that trust with the Oak Ridge community, with you, with Nicholas, with everyone assembled here.
So I'm open to it. And what I'll say is I could shoot you guys an email in the morning. I'm just going to run it by everyone and say, hey, can we run with one forum that Nick is? Let me try to start doing it a different way to see if you guys could build trust to give that opportunity. If, majority says yes, I'll shoot you an email in the morning. And if it's no, then, I'll give you those answers too. And I'll come back next week and say, if I need to, in front of everyone that we rejected. Because I want it to be I want everyone to know what's going on, so it's fair all the way around.
And if that's the case, that's perfectly fair too.
You.
My goodness. What Mr. Gilmore now.
Garten.
Sorry, I'm getting a little batty. What Mr. Garten brought up, if it's not something to have these conversations, if that's not the appropriate forum, if the HOA is willing to take this up for you, it sounds like that could be another path forward as well.
Clarification, the 20 people that you might get together, is that a conversation that we can have with our solicitor and our township staff and our because ultimately I'm just a conduit, right? Anyone up here, I have a different day, and I'm more than happy to meet with you and be present for that conversation, but the other people on this docket who aren't elected officials are the ones who have the knowledge and information to help move this in a direction that, is helpful.
Sure.
So would that be
Let
something?
me run it by them. I think I'm open to it. I might say in the beginning, hey, let us talk to our community people who are elected officials, and then bring it in, because we don't want anyone to feel like, hey, we're being asked something and we can't, because we're not coming with an agenda. We're going to come to you as a community just kind of sharing our concerns.
Yeah.
Right? We're not coming there to hold you accountable that day.
Yeah.
It's not on the record.
I just want to be transparent that I won't have personally the answers for you
That's
that
fine.
day.
We should have answers. when people just give us answers, we don't like it. We want you to take the information we give you, go back, do your due diligence with all the tools and resources that you have, and then come back. Maybe you might educate us and say, hey, Gilmore said this is right, and we learned. Right? We're not unreasonable. We're just asking for things to be fair and to be fixed if they're wrong. They're a part of your community too.
And I know you keep pointing to that counter over there, and that's fine, and that's me to address, but.
I don't want to say any names. I don't think
No,
that's respectful.
but you're, you know,
When we're in person, I'll say names.
you're above that counter now. So
Okay.
that's why, you know, when you come to my direction, the first thing I want to do is meet with you and meet with your neighbors and, you know, with the engineer. The engineer, myself, and the solicitor, we're not at that counter.
Okay.
So, you know, give us a chance.
Sure.
Trust us
give me
to
till-
listen to you and work with you and answer your questions that this we can address, this we can't address, you know, and exactly what you're asking.
Sure.
You know, we want to work with you, we want to help you. We just been requesting meetings and trying to find out the root, you know, what is it trees, is it stormwater, is it grading, like what are the issues?
All of the above.
Yeah, that's what
But-
we're learning
so
from
give me
you.
till Monday. Let me run it by everyone,
Okay.
and I'll shoot you back an email if that's fair.
I know Mr.
I can
Graham
get you
has my
information.
email,
I'll
but
find it.
it's on the website, so you
Not a
can.
problem.
Also, everybody can talk. Don't think you're just sitting there.
Can I say a few things?
I think so, yeah, it's public comment.
I mean, I think Sonny did a good job bringing up a few items, and I think one is trust. The reason I have asked for things in writing is because there is not a lot of trust. And I could sit here in a public forum and pull out emails and go through that with people's names, but that's not productive. So there has not been that level of trust. As I said, when the default response is, as a homeowner looking for help for development-related issues, let's just assume some of those are, and the response is, go get a lawyer within 24 hours, and they decline the opportunity to come and look at the issues on site with me, it doesn't build trust. And the second point, I know you were pushing, I don't speak for the community. As Sonny said, it's best that the community come together, think through all these issues, surface them up, and bring them forward. But I also think it's also a question of, if you're going to come to the meeting, what's the scope? If you're bringing your solicitor, do we come with HOA, have them represent with their solicitor? So there's other discussions that need to be had to make it a very fair and honest playing ground for that conversation. Because what I'm worried about is the lack of trust, which, you know, takes time to build that. And that's not against any of you. Many of you are newly elected officials. But it's that experience many of these people have had over the years, and myself. And so that'll take time.
I would just like,
As has been said, many of us have not approached this in an adversarial manner, but the response we've received has been such.
and I mean, to clarify, at least from what I was hoping to come across saying, and I don't know if it was received that way, is just like, our solicitor is, I mean, he's obviously there to represent us in the township and make sure that our backs are covered. But also he is there to say what legally we can and cannot do, what legally Horsham can hold the builder to and cannot, like, right? So just to, in the fashion of, or the forum for education, right? Because some of these we might be able to address, some of them, they might not be things that we have any control over. And I think legally that knowledge, like that is what I see Mr. Walko's, bringing to the table as an attendee of this conversation. I would hope that, at least at present date, you don't feel like we're out to get you, but we also, want to be in a forum where we can give you the answers and the education and the why behind everything. So that's my standpoint on that anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah. Unless you're from Oak Ridge. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry. I'll be brief. I am Christian Vesley. I live on Cheswick Circle, 3 Cheswick Circle. I know we are looking to get a noise ordinance in the community, so that's fantastic. I just wanted to voice my support in what we've been dealing with in that area for the past, I've been there 7 years, so every summer for 7 years. We've We unfortunately have one neighbor who is outside, anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day, blasting music nonstop, and on purposely pointing speakers at people's houses, not even outside. You could tell because the Bluetooth is going in and out. It's really become a problem. I know I have another neighbor who came and spoke a couple weeks ago, and I told him I'd come speak too. I have 3 small children, and 2 of my children's rooms are on that side of the house. Her patio is about 20 feet away from their room, so anytime she's out there, it's day and night. You just hear music. So when my son, who's now 3, he was 1, I remember him being sick at 7 p.m., and I asked her just to turn it down very nicely. And, she's screaming, curse words at me and telling me to move my kids' rooms and stuff like that. So it's really become a problem. You could hear the music from Powerline Trail. We back us about 200 yards away. And it's really become a major issue. It's our quality of life. We can't even sit in our family room sometimes because all you hear is the music. Outside, I have a video of it outside. It's like a nightclub. It's literally like a nightclub. And you can't talk to her. She just screams at you. She gets into fights with you. I know township people have gone over, and it's really become a huge issue. So, I know we're looking at noise ordinance. I know most noise ordinances are, starting at 11 p.m. and go to 6 a.m. or whatever. But, I don't know what we could do to figure out, hey, you can't be blasting music for 8 hours, during the day. It's really, it's really become an issue, and multiple neighbors, they back up to our yard, and it's really, really terrible. So, we've even had to move my son's crib when he was, a baby out from the wall because it's vibrating. That's how loud it was. Like it's really terrible. She's we know everybody in that neighborhood. We get along with everybody in the neighborhood. It's one person, and it's not like she's having parties and has family over. She's out there alone all day, and especially during the summer. She's a school district employee, so she doesn't work during the summer. So, and I also work from home, so I get to hear it for in the middle of my house 8-10 hours a day. So, whatever we could do to try to reduce, I just, we're desperate in that neighborhood, especially during the summer. I don't look forward to nice warm days because I know they're ruined. They're just ruined because, we're just listening to music. So, I mean, I could play you. This is, I don't know if we can hear it in the mic. Let me see if I could get it going. It sounds like a nightclub, right? Like that's just ridiculous. I should not be able to hear her music in the house, let alone our patio, which is on the other side. It's getting bad. So thank you, whatever you guys can do, to draft something. I know it's hard, and so thank you very much. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, go ahead. Do you want to
I
say
was going
something?
to say, well, as Chris has mentioned, we're well aware of the problem. She's cursed out our police officers. She's cursed out our code officers. And we have nothing really on the books now to help with the situation. But as you know, we are drafting a noise ordinance. We hope to have that draft ordinance in front of you the 4th Wednesday in May. Once we had that ordinance that you introduced the ordinance, it's a 30-day, then we have a public hearing, then you adopt it, and then we have the enforcement. So we're working on it, and hopefully that will. The one thing I do say to everyone is it might not be a fix-all, meaning stop, but it might.
Right,
But
yeah.
hopefully it will help reduce it or give our police officers or code officers enforcement capabilities on her.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I know you mentioned about time limiters that,
Yeah.
this is the middle of the day that we're talking about, so it wouldn't be affected by that, but we anticipate having like a decibel level during normal hours?
Don't know that
Don't know that yet.
but
Okay,
maybe
we'll find out.
There-
before
There
Tuesday.
definitely will be, there will be sound levels. The trick is to make sound levels that are actually able to be
recorded
Tracked.
and then enforced
Okay.
under the proper
Got it.
measures. And it will be different between residential properties and industrial properties,
Yeah.
and commercial
Okay.
properties. And
Yeah.
we'll look to see what else we can do just
Okay.
for intentional,
Yeah, it's yeah.
intentional directions of
Bad.
music as well. Maybe add some
Yeah, I
additional
invite you
language.
guys to come over during the
Well-
summer to hear it.
And what we've heard from your neighborhood, from your street,
Mhm.
if it is not something that ends up being addressed by a noise ordinance, if you feel there's harassment involved,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that could be a separate issue,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
we've
Okay.
I've gone down
Just-
that route. It's just with three
Like-
kids, it's exhausting to
Yeah.
go down that. But I know we have Facebook posts of her, intentionally,
Yep.
saying she's intentionally doing it and stuff like that. So it's really, it's crazy. It's,
I'm so
yeah,
sorry you're not
yeah.
able to enjoy this warmer weather. We're hopefully getting
Yeah.
back again, right?
Yeah,
As it
I
got
know.
colder.
Thank you all.
Thank you for coming out
Thank
tonight.
you. Bye.
John, Mr. Walco, just to clarify, so like daytime noise levels will be different for residential versus industrial areas, or could they be scoped differently?
I think there would be different levels between the idea of when noise will be made at residential levels. And then there'll be more quiet times. There would be different levels at those different times.
So would there be a level during the daytime hours that would be listed within any proposed ordinance?
I think there would be. It would likely be a higher decibel level, meaning you can make more noise during the day. Now, whether or not that exceeds that decibel level will be an issue, and it would be measurable from property lines. And then it would be a lower decibel level at nighttime if that's the way we end up drafting it. And again, the decibel level that's acceptable would be different depending on the situation. But again, there might be opportunities in there to provide provisions related to, the intent of creating disturbances with noise.
Right.
That would be able to be enforced. as
So I was gonna say, conceivably, we could make it a low level, assuming that most neighbors would be normal and not call their neighbors on a Saturday barbecue, but it would then protect us from situations like these and have some basis to,
Sure, you're going to need to make sure that it's, higher than kids playing in the backyard or someone listening to the radio on their deck or even mowing the lawn.
Fair.
Which it seems that that's what, was that inside that you played? Or
That was outside.
So that was
So,
outside,
but
and then again, there could be time periods of extended noise on
Yeah.
different dates and at different times
Yeah, I
during
mean,
the
people have
week.
parties. We have parties. Our neighbor, it's just it's really the duration and the intent, right? She knows it bothers people, so she's doing it on purpose.
I think we'll be able to address this situation.
okay. And the reason I'm asking so many clarifying questions right now too is because you had said that this will be up for review the fourth Wednesday in May, and then it's 30 days, and then we can vote, but that's like pending that there's no changes, right? So if, say we review something the fourth Wednesday and there was changes, then we would have to re-review that, and then,
If there are major changes, but I'll let John.
Yeah, my hope is to actually get it to you individually prior to that time, so you can look through, ask questions, maybe make some suggestions, have it back to me, so by the time it reaches you for formal consideration, the initial consideration for advertisement on the second meeting in May, you've already seen it, some of your input has either been explained to you or we've taken that in, so we're closer to the mark at that point in time.
okay. And could you make minor modification, like say, so then,
Well, at May, if it's a motion to advertise at that point in time and it's not advertised at that session, we can make any changes at that time, then advertise the ordinance for the hearing with those changes included. It's when the ordinance is before you for consideration for approval that we're not able to make substantive changes at that time. So in May, we'll still be able to make changes or make some additions to it, but again, it's a lot easier to get as close as you can to that mark and do some cleanups, have some discussions, or maybe hear from public. And if the council wanted to make further amendments to that ordinance and then advertise it, we can move it forward with those changes as well.
be cognizant of getting some, because this has been, not just from you, not just from your neighborhood, from others as well. So I do want to be cognizant of getting this reviewed, like drafted, reviewed, and approved as soon as possible, so that we, have a leg to stand on in cases like these.
And so like the time frame would sort of the fourth Wednesday in May, you would introduce the draft ordinance. And then 30 days from there, you had to advertise it for 30 days, as John mentioned, advertising. And then you had to have a public hearing. If everything is sort of in check, then you can adopt it the same evening as your public hearing. But that has to be 30 days after you introduce it. So I don't have a calendar.
At least 30 days, or?
Yeah, so it could be the fourth Wednesday of June, depending on what date it is, or the second Wednesday in July. One of those two dates. It's the 30-day period that the clock starts when you introduce it, the fourth Wednesday in May. Still getting like
Sometime between now and August.
I got it. At some point. All right. Thank you all.
We're
again. I
trying.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for coming out. We appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay. Next item up is the approval of the list of checks. Bill, did you want to say, sorry, Mr. Walker, did you want to say anything about that before we approve, or are we good?
you're good.
Okay.
I move to approve the list of checks in all funds from April 16th, 2026 to April 22nd, 2026 in the amount of $251,899.24, and further move to authorize payment of same.
Second. I moved and seconded. This is a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next up is to review the zoning hearing board application to be heard in May, CDW LLC 1105 West County Line Road, HTZHB 26-08.
This is an application that you saw last month and you took opposition to it. Once the applicant found out about your opposition, they continued to May with the zoning hearing board. They requested a meeting with myself, Ms. Harris, Kelsey Harris, and John, and we met with them and their attorney. And you received their April 16th letter in front of you. We worked through the variances, we worked through the issues with them. It is a very small lot, but they do have rights to develop on the property. Some things that we'd like you to, or conditions, even though it's in their letter, I think it is even better for us to have it in a letter from you to the zoning hearing board solicitor, is their underground stormwater management facilities that they've offered and said they would install, the existing shed to be removed. Also, in their first plan, they proposed a patio, which is impervious. They now have agreed to replace, instead of a patio, to put a raised deck, which is pervious in Horsham's code. So that's a change in a condition. The off-street parking, they went from 1 to 2. Also, in their plan, if you notice, maybe I'll show you this. Let me see if I can get there. It is a very small house that they're proposing. Let's see if this works. There we go. So this is the house next door to them that exists. This is the proposed house. We asked them to put a fence up. So now they show a fence along the property line to give it more buffer to this house. So they've put that on the plan. We would recommend that as a condition. And I don't know, did I miss anything, John?
No, just again, eliminating some of the variances that were requested and the additional work that staff had recommended after our meeting. So it would just be the conditions that are set forward on that April 16th letter that we would reiterate.
So as I said, it's a very small house. I wish my computer was working. There we go. So as you see, it's two bedrooms, or 3 bedrooms, bedroom 1, 2, living room, a kitchen out front. But And that's it. It's like a 1,500 square foot, one-story house. So it is a very small house. With these conditions and us meeting with them, the staff has changed its position for you to consider from opposition to neutral with those conditions.
Does anyone have any?
Thoughts, disagreement with that? No? Okay. Next item up is to review the following subdivision plan, Lewis and Magdalene Polisano, 935 Tennis Ave, 26-02-S.
Good evening, John Iannuzzi here for the applicant. Before I begin my remarks, I must say that I've been working in Horsham for many years. I find your township staff, from your solicitor to your engineer to your manager to the people at the front desk, to be absolutely wonderful. And you got one of the best teams in the business. I feel remiss if I did not say that before I begin my remarks.
Thank you very much for those words. We appreciate it.
What's before you tonight is a very straightforward plan. Essentially, it's a minor subdivision lot line adjustment. So essentially what we're doing is we're cutting off the back of 935 and adding it to 945 and then consolidating that. Now, why are we doing that? We are doing that to put those two pieces of land into an Act 319 preservation program. So we're very excited about that. During the course of this project, we have received all the review letters. The majority of those items are will comply. We are asking for 4 waivers. I don't know if council wants me to go through the waivers. I can. They're very straightforward. I'll be happy to answer any other questions that you have at this time.
Yeah, John, if you could go through the
Sure.
council, you have them in your packets, the waiver. I think there's 4 of them, but just for the
record.
Just for the record.
No problem. So the first waiver we're asking for is 198-19C1A. That is from the drafting standards plan scale. The plan scale that we're providing is 1 inch equals 60 feet. Very straightforward housekeeping waiver. The second waiver is from 198-19C2N, existing features. We are proposing existing features shown within the parcels to be subdivided. The third waiver is from 198-19C2Q7, 198-23, wetlands delineation. No building or utility construction is associated with this lot line adjustment, therefore we're asking for the waiver. And the last one is from 198-29B2, lot depth. We're asking for this waiver because the existing lot depth condition is less than lot width. Again, this is a minor subdivision lot line adjustment, so all very straightforward waivers.
And the engineer's office has no objection to any of those waiver requests.
Now, during the process, it was known to us that this road is currently been dedicated to the township. The township has zero interest in owning that road. So my client is willing to indemnify and handle the maintenance obligations. During phase 2, we'll be coming back. There'll be a petition to vacate. We'll work with your solicitor to handle the petition to vacate for the orange part. And we'll work with the adjoining property owners, which will have to sign a petition to vacate agreement.
Guys, you refer to phase 2, that will be a separate land development
Yeah,
plan.
that's a separate land. We wanted to get in for the Act 319 application, right? So that's why we're doing it in phases. First one is kind of just cutting it off 935 to 945. Let's get it in. There's a deadline for that. And then we're going to come back and you'll see this. You'll have another opportunity to see what we're doing essentially in the front.
Mr. Iannuzzi, I mean, you're certainly probably the most preeminent expert in Montgomery County on Act 319.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But this board may not understand what that is and why it relates to what you're doing here and when you need to do it. So could you just
Sure,
briefly
no
explain
problem.
why that's being done for this purpose?
I'm always looking for an opportunity to market myself. Act 319 is a program that's put forth by the state. Essentially, there's 3 ways to get into Act 319. The first way is agricultural reserve, which means you need 10 acres open and free to the public. The second way is agricultural use, which means you need an anticipated yearly income of an agricultural commodity, roughly, don't quote me on the number, I think it's like $2,800 a year. And then the third way is forestry, and that's that delineation that my client will be applying for. Essentially what it means is you need 10 acres of contiguous trees on your application, and we certainly have that. During that process, we actually engage with a forest management expert to do a forest management report, which we submit to the Montgomery County Board of Assessment. And it kind of is a game plan, a little playbook for my client to basically take care of the trees in perpetuity. How do you treat them? How do you prune them? Make sure they're strong and healthy. And when you do that, you get a preferential assessment. Essentially what it means is your tax assessment is made up of two things, structure and land value. An Act 319 application essentially reduces the land value, and you get a preferential assessment on that. So essentially, to make a long story short, it reduces my client's tax burden. Now, in the future, if there was something that he violated in terms of, let's say he took down all the trees, then he would have to pay what they call rollback taxes for the last 7 years, assuming the property was in for 7 years. So, in short, Act 319 is a program put forth by the state to allow a property owner to reduce their tax burden while also simultaneously approving and fostering preservation of land, which I think is in everyone's best interest.
And the subdivision is being done, so you have that 10 continuous acres, correct?
That subdivision is being done so we can enroll it in making an amendment to another Act 319 property, which is right next to it, to make it one application. So to answer your question, yes. So that's in a nutshell. So hopefully I didn't bore you all, but that's what.
No, I appreciate Lou. I know Lou, and Lou's active in the community, donates to Hatters Hold'em and other things in the community. But it was last summer, the property owner, not Lou, but the property owner, the mother passed away. The children came at us with a land development plan for a cul-de-sac with additional homes. I think it was 4 new homes.
That's correct.
After that, one thing I always tell people, go talk to the neighbors. Check in with the neighbors before you, start any public process, and know where the neighbors are. Lou did not want to see the new homes. He'd rather see the trees in the open space, and he bought their property. And now we'll, after hopefully that you approve the subdivision and it gets recorded, he'll move into Act 319, and instead of 4 more homes, additional homes, we'll have trees and open space. So I think it's a good win for Tennis Avenue. I think it's a good win for the township. And I thank Lou for stepping up and doing that.
And just so the council's clear, then the second phase, we are still kind of going through that, but we would come back. There may be a lot or two that we're going to subdivide off the front. It's still uncertain how we're going to do that, but we'll have to come before you anyway to go through that. So right now for phase 1, we're just cutting the property for Act 319 purposes.
Because you brought it up, and I'm curious now. So when you come back ahead, I'm sorry, I'm like
Sure.
on a headache right now. But so would whatever that subdivision would be, would that take away from the 10 contiguous acres that you need? Okay.
No. So and again, it's
Do you want me to
unknown
put the
yet.
Act 319 plan up?
Yeah, sure. So the Act 319 plan, let me do this, is essentially going to be this. It's going to come down here, over here, right? That's one parcel. And we're going to merge it with this one, which is already in Act 319. So this will all be under Act 319 right here. Now, it was a good question you asked. When we come back, we'll have to come before you, your planning commission, your township engineer and solicitor will review it. We'll have to come back for whatever he decides to do here, whether it's one lot, most likely 1 or maybe 2. At this point, we don't know. And then you can vet that. Also, during that process, we would do the petition to vacate, which I previously talked about. So, no problem.
You passed the quiz that made you.
That's all right.
Okay, so everyone's, we could prepare, John, the solicitor, could prepare a resolution for council to consider at their next meeting, May 13th.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Next next item up is to consider the results of the following bid: demolition of structures on the property at 234 McKean Road.
This is, as you know, this is a property that we now own. We're working with FEMA. It's a property that's been hit many times by floods, and so we do own the property. We purchased the property with FEMA funding. Now we have to demo the house with FEMA funding. We had 4 bidders bid on the demolition for the house. The highest bidder was M. Dorman and Sons Incorporated, $148,000. Third was Delaware Environmental Construction Services for $109,488.88. The second was James R. Kenny at $63,000, and the lowest bidder was Victory Gardens Incorporated, $59,350. They were checked out. They had all their documents in order. They are the lowest responsible bidder, which we are recommending for your consideration this evening.
I move to award the demolition of structure on the property at 234 McKean Road to Victory Gardens, Inc. in the amount of $59,350, and hereby authorize execution of this contract for the same.
Second?
Moved and seconded. This is a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ayes have it.
Okay, so the last item is to announce that the next Horsham Township Council meeting will be held on Wednesday, May 13th at 6 p.m. And that's it. We can adjourn the meeting.